Hey, everybody, welcome to the Undercurrent. I'm delighted to have one of my favorite people, and she happens to be our brand strategist and all the things, Jessica Mayfield. Couldn't think of a better guest than to have someone that I work with and that I've seen manage so many things. And we're going to be talking about how her past, her present, and her becoming have become such an amazing story, a mosaic of who you are today.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to share my story. What a better place to share than the Undercurrent.
This is the Undercurrent. Everybody, welcome to the Undercurrent. I am so delighted to take this moment and have my own brand specialist, strategic, creative, all the things. Jessica is amazing, not only because she is very professional, super creative, but she is a woman, a wife, and a mom. And she does all of them seamlessly, including her profession. Welcome to the Undercurrent.
I've never been here. This is amazing. My goodness, what a surprise.
How do you, and I'm gonna just jump right into it, because I really want to talk about this whole concept of today's woman.
Yeah.
It's so different than your mom and the generation before her. And maybe it is that past, that present, and you are the becoming of what's next, right? So let's get all the other stuff over it. Let's shout out to your husband and to your great kids.
I was trying to figure out when I get to do that part. So yes, shout out to my husband. 11 years we celebrated February 28th.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah, 11 years. We have two precious little people. We waited, as my husband called it, we took the 5-year plan. We waited 5 years to have children. So we have Gloria and Michael, who are 3
They're
and 6.
amazing. First of all, they've been here before.
They
have amazing energy. I have no idea how you manage their loving, robust sense of self and life.
They're big people. They are
big people
in little tiny bodies, and they're trying to figure out how to still be big people and still be in little bodies. So it's fun.
I think for me, the question is the women that came before you.
For sure.
So, because I think we're all shaped by somebody who helped to form us, right?
Yeah.
So, who are the women that sort of shaped your life?
First and foremost, not because it's the typical answer, but because it's the whole truth.
Mm-hmm.
My mother.
Okay.
A point of privilege.
Right.
Point of privilege.
Vanessa Macklin.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy.
A whole ball.
Right. She's like a whole thing. When you think about like total package, strength, insight, charisma, leadership, stamina, all the things.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is knowing your mom and seeing you're like a mini me.
I feel bad, guys. I feel so bad. You all don't see this, but he gets, I'm not going to say abused, but he gets yelled at.
I get abused. No, let's just tell the truth. Let's tell the whole truth on the Undercurrent.
We're not.
No? Okay.
No.
All right.
The authorities are watching.
Okay.
I'm just playing with it. No, I do my job. Let's call it that. All right. And I always laugh because I'm like, I wonder if he realizes that was my mom voice. I wonder if he realizes that was the Vanessa mode of me. Like, I wonder, because you know her and you see me and it's like, that's what you're getting right now. So it's, to answer your question and go back to that, yes, my mom for sure. And we just talked about this again. My mother is a mom's mom.
Okay.
She is a mother to how they say mother to the motherless.
Right.
She's a mother to the motherless, and she's a mother to the mothered.
Wow.
That's
good.
She's encompassed so many angles. And yes, as a first lady, she's had to jump in and do that role.
Mm-hmm.
But even just for the friends that I've had, for just her ability to encounter and engage with people, she gon' mama you, and you gonna feel ashamed and loved and comforted and good all at the same time.
I think that in terms of like the women who've shaped you and the women that have come before you, and talking about your mom, let's just stick there. It is amazing that all the time that I've known her, I really never connected to her first ladiness. Now, and my point is, because I'm not a part of Glad Tidings, I don't live in California. You meet her, you meet the woman, you be like, this woman is cool.
She's not going to
And
give
then you find out, oh, snap.
the presentation.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And the thing is, and this is something that, and I don't know if we'll jump into it later, but this is something that I've prided myself on for myself and my siblings. Grew up Church of God in Christ. We were the platform babies of the late 80s, 90s, and the 2000s. Like if you were on a platform at a convention, you're going to see a Macklin up there. But what people knew about us is that we knew how to have our composure, but we were real.
Right.
Mom kept us grounded.
Yeah.
There was a grounding to us, but that's because when you got to us, we'd see the security guards, they'd be up there. We go over there and talk and play and make jokes and like there was something about what our mother instilled in us that spoke, you better be real. You better be to your core. You better understand how to walk and not just present.
Wow. Well, how do those traits from people like your mom, your grandmother, other women that helped shape you sort of in the past, how do those traits show up in you today? And then how do they show up in Gloria?
That'll be episode next.
Yeah, right.
That's a whole nother episode.
It would be so cool if we
Don't
brought the
say
kids.
it. Don't say
Listen,
it.
we brought the kids on and had that conversation and just let them go.
Number one,
it would be hilarious.
They would do it by themselves.
I know.
No. Like we wouldn't even be here. We just give them papers, let them read them, and go for it. For me, I found that I have hit a wall at many points because the benefit of being taught in the eye, we were raised in the eye of everything. What we learned was to be presentable, was to make sure that we are being seen the way that we're supposed to, hold our composure, all those things, but still be grounded. I will say this, the other side of that was growing up as a Black girl in a predominantly white school, trying to figure out your voice, but still keep presentation face. It was a benefit because I learned how to carry myself and have composure. But when it came time to those moments to dive into what do I want to do, I didn't know how to do that so well.
How is that akin to sort of being a woman in America, being a Black woman, being a woman, a wife, a mother, a professional, and to figure out all that code switching?
So honestly, code switching and I have had a topsy-turvy relationship. I will not lie. Again, shout out to my high school. However, my high school brought so much confusion as after I graduated. Graduated, went on college, did all I was going to do. I had to shuffle through so many things because I was used to, when I'm around folks that don't look like me, present yourself, make yourself presentable and acceptable for these type of people. Then when you're around folks who look like you, match and be cool like them. But because I was weird, because I was, quirky, I wasn't as cool. Black card was revoked many a times. I had to figure out what I'm going to do. And I think now I'm 35, I came to the conclusion that I appreciate the fact that although I have the ability to code switch, I switch when I want now.
Yeah. So I think this is important because now you're hitting, for me, that undercurrent sweet spot, because there's a whole lot of times people will see you and you will be sort of the mirror of their image.
Yeah.
But that's not really the authentic space. Yeah. But I love the way you phrase that. You did code switching as survival, as, the need. And now as you've grown into your own person, you switch when you want to. That's powerful.
So here's the backstory behind it. My mother raised us, one of the reasons that she raised us the way that she did, as far as, hey, do this, carry yourself, da-da-da-da-da. She knew what school we were going to, all those things. She grew up in Oregon at a very racist school.
Okay.
So to survive, her and her brothers, they had to do what they had to do. And so in us going to a predominantly white school, my mama didn't do it out of fear, but she did it out of, I want you all not to experience what I had to. Do this, let's carry this, blah, 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 blah. The list, there was nothing wrong with that because in her defense and in her, support of how she raised us, she gave us the best tools to be able to handle the situation.
Yeah.
In time, it just became something that I had to take and decipher for myself.
Yeah.
I'm jumping in to say this. I had just shared with my husband not too long ago. I didn't realize I had a complex that I never was asked to homecoming.
Wow.
I did not realize how much those decisions, those actions plagued on what I thought about myself until I got older. But I had to fight with that because I'm like, wait a minute, I did what I was supposed to, and I still didn't get picked.
That's interesting because it would seem as though your mom's experience, if we're talking sort of like past, present, and becoming,
For sure.
your mom's experience really informed your present experience relative to providing, I want to say, guardrails, creating boundaries, and making you aware on how you had to navigate in that space, right?
Yeah.
So my next question around that then would be, the girl you used to be in that space, what experiences from homecoming, are there other experiences in your early years that sort of built a strength for you that you are now either recognizing,
Sure.
becoming aware of, and then how do you translate that experience now to your daughter?
For me, my grandmother on my mom's side, so Theda Wells, plays one of the biggest parts in my life concerning who I'm becoming right now.
Wow.
And I did not know how big of a part until I got older. So, I'm gonna mention the conventions again. Growing up, convocation, I was too young to hang with the older cousins and my older siblings. So I would often be pegged with my grandmother. So I was hanging out. Now, mind you, give me the old lady crew any day. I loved the old lady crew, so in the offices where the women would come in to get their certifications and their this and that, I was in there helping. I was in there, baby, get this. I was like, yes, ma'am. Give me old lady crew any day. I was around her. When she came in town, she'd stay with us for a couple of weeks around March Women's Weekend time at GT. I'd be sitting in grandmother's chair. I learned she taught me how to crochet. She wrote books. She wrote devotionals. She, put out all kind of stuff. And I loved that about her. I just never got into it so much then. And here I am becoming now. Yeah. Getting into my writer bag. I'm getting into my creating my explorative bag, and just all those things. I'm like, man, I didn't realize how in tune I was with my tomorrow yesterday.
So your grandmother, your mother really began to help shape your direction.
Absolutely.
Right. But how would you say they have sort of, in a way, been an architect of your resilience?
I think that I find myself, and this is something that I said to my brothers and my sisters, we have come to the conclusion that we are our parents at different times, and that's okay. I was literally driving down the freeway today, and it was a guy next to me. I said, "Hey, guy, come on!" I'm like, "That's the stuff my dad says," and I was like, "Live and well. He is alive and well right now in me." I have come to understand that I am my mother and I am my grandmother, and I don't fight those things, not because I fear what that can mean or if I lose myself, but I've understood that to become myself, I have to accept the parts of me that are me. That is what it is.
Yeah.
When I was teaching, I taught preschool for 5-6 years in Kansas City. And when I was teaching, I would find myself moving and maneuvering like my mother. And so I began to understand my arc as a teacher and the type of teacher I was, the type of mother I was, the type of, friend I became. I moved like my mother in certain things. And the more that I became okay with that is the more that it embodied itself into me.
Wow.
So the acceptance, the understanding, the acknowledgement of it, I'm not, folks out here, I ain't like my daddy. I'm like, oh, you are.
Right.
Whatever you fight, that's going to take up your time.
Yeah.
I released myself from fighting, from, becoming these people, because I realized there's nothing wrong with it if I choose to know and accept what it is and where I want to place it and the role it plays. And sorry, go ahead.
Because I love that, because basically what we resist persists. Right?
Absolutely.
And so this whole thing about becoming is making sure that we accept and embrace all of the things that have shaped us to the moment that we've come to.
Yeah.
And you arrive at that moment as you, not them.
Absolutely. I've had to sit down and just look and be grateful for how I've journeyed into becoming who I was.
Yeah.
Story time. I went to a beauty supply store, and I posted this on my TikTok too. So I went to a beauty supply store and I went inside and I saw some press-on nails. And I asked the girl, I'm like, excuse me, can you let me know about I picked out some, I said, are these any good? She said, oh girl, no. I said, what's wrong with them? She said, don't get those. I said, oh, are these bad nails or something? She said, girl, they ugly. I said, oh, okay. I said, well, I actually don't mind if they're ugly to you. I just want to know if they're going to last long or they're going to fall off. She's like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you liked them. They're okay. They're this, they're that. I said, oh, pumpkin pie, don't worry. And I got in the car and I said, Lord, I thank you, because back in the day, there would have been a time to where as soon as I found out somebody else didn't like it, I switched up and I abandoned me,
right.
you know? And so I was so grateful that I said, hey, I don't mind if you think it's ugly. If it's ugly, that's cool. But if I like it, I like it. It can be ugly. But I've decided, you know, what I'm going to do. I am taking liberty to place it where it needs to be. So the legacy and the modeling from my mother, from my grandmother, I've accepted it and I take it and I say, well, I want to be like this here and I want to be like her, like here and like there. And this is what I like. This is what I don't like, you know, and creating that narrative for myself.
At your age and stage, because it sounds this way.
Okay.
So at your age and stage right now, do you feel really empowered having sort of that backdrop of your mom and grandmother and your own awareness of your own becoming? Do you feel at this 30-something space that you are really in the driver's seat of your life?
I will say that yes and yes and no and no.
Okay.
As plain as that is and as much sense as that makes. Go with me.
Unpack that.
Oh, you want me? Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I thought you knew off the bat.
No.
For me, I have felt for years that I was there and then I'd fall asleep and wake up and feel like, what a lovely place to visit, and felt like it didn't belong to me.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, it was never.
Wow.
Now in life, I feel more settled and secure than I've ever felt.
Okay.
The pieces that came together and made Jessica and made the story, they are lovely, you know, seasons, you know, Bridgerton season. They're lovely. With this season, this happened. With that season, this happened, you know, all come together. What a lovely show that it made, you know. I was a different person in so many seasons of my life. Although I was the same, I embodied a different phase of myself. Each one a little more wrong than the other, you know, but until I figured out, I was in there tweaking and fine tuning. Well, the Lord, once I let the Lord do his tweaking and fine tuning, it really became a trust the process, let go, let God. He will show you how to be yourself.
So clearly, to me, it begs another question.
Okay.
So if you have arrived at that space, so we've talked about your past, we're kind of dealing with your present. But now you've intrigued me and our audience about your becoming, right? So when you said about trusting the process,
For sure.
could I ask the question around, like, what does a surrendered will or a surrendered yes? What is a surrendered yes in balancing motherhood, being a wife, work, the creative space that you have to fill, and being creative is draining mentally, right? How do you factor all of that in that surrendered yes kind of thing?
Story
Too much?
time. No.
Story time?
Story time. Again.
You can tell she got 2 small kids.
And
so let me tell you what the story.
La,
Go ahead.
la, la.
Okay.
No. Yes, but no. I mean, yes and yes.
Right.
And no and no.
Yeah. Lord, I love that.
You're welcome. And when you say it again,
Right.
I want all of run it back. For me, super story time. So yesterday, after I think we had our call, or one of our meetup calls, I had just finished with a hair appointment. I just got my hair done, which is why it's moving the way that it is. Thank you. Thank you. I just got it done. But what's crazy, and this is, you know, prepare yourself. It had been 7 years since I had gotten my hair done. The last time I got my hair done was right after a miscarriage because my sister-in-law offered to do it for me.
Oh my God.
I know, right? And so when you're a DIYer, when you're trying to figure out how to balance this and balance that, you don't always put yourself in a position to stop and take care of yourself or treat yourself or see yourself as a person. Sometimes you see yourself as a vessel to carry all the things you have to carry. And until you stop and acknowledge the vessel as a person, you're doing damage along the way. You're riding on a donut.
You've repeated that. You've repeated sort of that phrase on this becoming woman.
For sure.
And it would sound as though that there are women who may be in the struggle of that becoming because they may not have the ability to hold on to identity while managing multiple roles.
What makes that worse? Absolutely. And what makes it worse is the underhanded and unspoken roles and examples that we think we have to be. We
Okay.
see the Stepford wives. We see this
Mhm.
woman. We see that
Mhm.
woman. We see the woman we don't want to be. We
Mhm.
see every Tyler Perry woman that he has ever put on a movie. I'm so sorry, Lord, but we see all of that. And we do our best to, I ain't gonna be like that one, or well, I'm gonna be, and then social media does not help.
No.
So we now see other images that just are in the back of our head while we're trying to figure out, how do I be a me? Oh, wait a minute, I don't want to be seen as a deadbeat mama. Let me take care of my kids. Let me
Mhm.
do this and that. Wait a minute, what about my ambitions? But is that going to make me selfish? There's so many things that create noise, but you have to find the courage to be graceful with it all and present.
Wow.
And it can be tough.
That's a lot.
No. Just put the microphone to some of these women's heads, and it's gonna be a lot of voices in there running, but you gotta present. You gotta present. You gotta show up, and you have to be so in tune and so graceful to, like, remember, well, I don't know if you remember this in school, when they would play that game, you're tossing the egg and you got to try to catch the egg without cracking it.
Right.
You've got to be so laser focused to know how to catch it without breaking a thing and still move forward and then turn on football mode.
But does that create unreasonable pressure in the lives of women who are living without a safety net?
It absolutely can. You have to do a lot to fight to really create a space that gives you the room to find balance. It's like when you're traveling to the airport, you just kind of grabbed all your stuff. You got to find a terminal where nobody else is at, unpack,
Right.
and reassemble.
Yep. Mhm. Yeah.
That's the only way.
All of it's hard.
Okay.
And I think what you're doing for me as a man is giving me a real dose of reality. It's almost like bringing us behind the curtain because a lot of times people just see who you are and you are judged for how you produce.
Yep.
You're judged
Your
for
results.
the results and how you come across. But people don't really see you making the sausage. They don't understand how vision, work, and responsibility are intersected
Yep.
and how one sort of depletes the other and replenishes the other.
For sure.
Would you say that the vision for your life or the way you carry vision in the midst of all of the other things that you do, that one is replenishing as one is draining?
I don't know, because it changes so much.
Yeah.
There we
It's
go.
rapid. It's
It
rapid
changes.
because you're building, you're creating, you're leading
Yeah.
while you're raising a family, you're being a wife.
Yeah.
And this is my book that has been in my head that I've got to write.
Okay.
And that is Who's Talking?
Yeah.
Because I think what happens is interesting. You said about how you told everybody that she does abuse me, so that's very real.
I didn't say that.
But well,
AI.
yeah, whatever. The point of the matter is that as a man, I have to hear. I'm listening to her woman professional. Then I hear her mom for Gloria
Okay.
and
Michael.
Michael.
Mhm.
And I also hear her mom, Vanessa.
Yep.
So men have to also train your listening or your hearing to a woman speaking, because there is the woman that speaks, there's the wife that speaks, there's the mother that speaks, there's the professional that speaks, there is the code switcher that speaks, there is the visionary that speaks, and all of them have a different space. And if you're a woman listening to this podcast, I want to say, first of all, that as a man and on behalf of men everywhere, we salute you for the ability to juggle those things. And then, like you said, to have the grace to navigate them and find yourself in the midst of it, right? So if I ask you, and I'm glad you were real transparent about, I don't know, but there's a part of you that's very clear about the woman you're becoming. Who is she?
I'd love to meet her. I'm just kidding. I'm so glad that every morning I wake up and find out that she's still in production, but she's on the floor and she's already out on the floor. But I know that she is not finished at all. And I think I find more comfort in knowing that she's not finished than to be stressed out that I'm not finished.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
For me, she is a woman that is informed. She is a woman that is decisive. She is a woman that is graceful. I take so much pride in having grace, because grace is phasing its way out for women nowadays. I'm gonna say it.
Whoa. Hey, unpack that one.
I have to.
Yeah.
All right. I'm sorry. I am 35. I was born in 90, but I am an old soul. Again, I was rocking hard with the old ladies. My mama didn't play about us. We didn't get to go and, we were tight next to mom. And so therefore it rubbed off on us. My friend at GT, when she passed away, Mother Mary Collier, that was my girl. Go to her house and, sew with her, dude. Like, that's me. I'm the old lady. And the way that they carried themselves, albeit there was a lot of abuse they were covering up, there were a lot of things that they should have spoke up about, blah, 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 not to demean any of it.
No, right.
But
just to put it out there.
That's the truth.
Because that
was the time.
Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah.
Shut up and take it.
And they stewarded that moment, right, for you.
They
See,
did.
there's a lot of times you think that I wouldn't have put up with that. We talk about it, but our last episode when my daughter was with me, Destiny is big on it's because of slavery. It's the whole thing. But here's the other piece is that you have to thank God for the women and the men that have shaped that were in your past, that have made impact on your present so that you could become. They endured, like you're talking about now, the older mothers, they grew up in a culture where they were being abused.
Absolutely.
And if we think about it now, for me, my favorite movie is The Color Purple.
Okay.
That's my favorite movie because I think it is a real accurate snapshot of becoming and also a predictor of what is coming because we're always producing that. So you are right in the context of how they stewarded that moment so that you could have the moment you're in now.
But this is where that translation loses its could be power.
Okay.
You have to take the meat and throw away the bone.
Sure.
A lot of times when girls are passed down things from their mother, they take the ability to be strong, be resilient, but they grab that anger too. So now you're taking that their anger was developed from the situations that they were in. But here comes the daughter. I'm going to pick up from where you left off. I don't have that history, but I have the anger and I'm going to start it and go from there.
Wow.
And there's no resolve for them. So here we are stuck with the feelings and stuck with the leftover emotions that our mother had to endure and her mother had to endure and her mother had to endure. Now it's up to me. Do I endure that same line traveled on down to me, or do I stop and do I take what I can, which is at least a grace to understand how to carry something heavy and apply it to what I've decided to do and in the direction I've decided to go? Am I going to pick up the channel or the carrier of grace and apply it to this pathway for myself?
Wow. So as you are growing and unfolding at the same time.
For sure. Unfolding is the word.
Yeah, I think that's all of us. If you really take a look at your life, I would ask you, how are you growing and unfolding? But Jessica, I think my point to you is that I think I'm just telling you, I think that you do it well and you do it with a grace. When you see your family, your husband, he is as happy as he can be and he feels a sense of fulfillment. And I think that is a tremendous applause to who they were for you, who you are now, and who you are becoming. And your becoming, I will say this, is a gift to her husband. That is amazing, who you are becoming, how you balance all of those things. And to every woman out there, to talk about the undercurrent of how you become and what that becoming becomes to those that live in proximity to you. You're the gift to your husband because of what you have discovered and what you have managed. And you're the gift now to your children because now you've passed that on. Let me just ask this question. What do you hope to build and pass forward?
I hope to build and pass forward to my kids and to their kids and to anybody else around us or surrounding us. I hope to pass forward the courage, as corny as it sounds, and I'm sure it's at a Ross store hanging on the wall now, to live, laugh, love. Okay.
Mhm.
The courage to make a decision and not move or live out of fear,
Wow.
because fear comes in many forms. Fear don't just come in spiders.
Mhm.
Fear doesn't just come in bankruptcy. Fear comes in, what if I don't make the right decision? What if I don't say the right thing? What if I don't appeal to these people the right way? My hope is that they champion fear so that they understand how to live a God-fearing life, but a life that speaks only to who God has called them to be. I don't want them to be nothing else other than who and what God has called them to be, and who they're supposed, like their code, do that. And when we start telling God, well, I have an idea, let's do this instead, all right, but script gonna come it's gonna be a little off, and you wonder why. But even as a producer, I'll say this, I do this as a point of privilege. I made it my job to make sure that you were in your sweet spot of you being yourself. Because if I push you too far outside of your realm to be something you're not, it's going to stop there to be a heart-to-heart connect. What comes from the heart reaches the heart. I never want my kids or anybody who is attached to us to be in a position to feel like they need to speak from anywhere else but their heart.
Wow.
Because I know what that is.
Speaking of the work that you do as a creative, tell me how all of that's come together for you.
If you ask my mother, my father, or anybody else at GT who saw me grow up from dresses and ruffle socks and on, I've always been making something, selling something, changing something, presenting something, singing something. Like, that's always been my shtick. And it pegged me as a kid, because I'm the youngest of 5 and my 4 older siblings all had their thing. And here I come, jack of all trades, master of none. I was like, Lord, what is my thing? I don't know what to do. You have a father, bless his bless, but he tried his best to support all of my avenues and ventures, and we bless God. But I'm sorry. I am sorry for every side venture I started, and had you like mini fund, my bad. But in that realm, it allowed me the room to figure out that I am a creative, and there's no box to that. And to stop feeling so obligated to have a box. Learn to master your skills and your abilities, but do not allow yourself to be limited by what people said it's supposed to look like, because that's going to keep you from being yourself. Like, I can't take away from the fact that I'm an educator. I am a creative strategist. I'm a designer. Like, there's so many things that I can do. I can't allow that to take me away from the fact that, hey, I'm supposed to only be doing it like this, or chat said this, so-and-so said that, the school, the degree said I'm only supposed to do this.
So my image of all of that is like in an animated cartoon way, where there's this like truck coming down the road and it's bouncing, but it's got all of these things in the back.
Loaded up.
And it's
like the Clampets.
Right, like the
Clampets. Okay.
Right.
We are headed to Beverly Hills. Okay.
Past, present, and becoming. You have been able to really master womanhood responsibility in the journey, really, that keeps unfolding for you. And for your clients as one, and for your faith community as a part of that, and for your family, you are an asset to the future.
Hey, thanks.
Thank you so much. This has been The Undercurrent with the creative one.
Wow.
The woman of all, the master. Would you say?
I didn't say any of these things.
The jack of all trades, the master of none. But it's really interesting that you've taken all of your creative experiences and you've curated a place for yourself. And I think that's really important. I would hope that as you are viewing this podcast, that you're thinking through your own way of all of the experiences that have brought you to the moment that you're in. And I promise you, you have not come to this moment by accident. You are here on purpose. On behalf of Jessica and myself, thank you so much for being a part of The Undercurrent.
Thank you.
This is The Undercurrent.